This morning, WBTV has learned the Charlotte-Mecklenburg School Board is considering a change to its policy on criminal background checks.
The policy committee is expected to vote on the change this afternoon. Our Caroline Hicks joins us live this morning to explain that change and the reason for the change. Caroline?
Well, the proposed change would require CMS employees notify the district as soon as they are arrested. As it currently stands, they do not have to notify the district until they are criminally convicted. Now, according to policy documents, the change states that all employees and applicants must report to the Human Resources Department any criminal charges, convictions, guilty pleas, prayers for judgment, continued or deferred prosecutions that occur after the employee or applicant's application for employment was submitted. It goes on to say the employee or applicant must make the report within 5 calendar days after receiving notice. It also says any employee who is aware that another employee is facing a criminal conviction should also report that to Human Resources. Now, this comes after several recent arrests of CMS teachers. Just last month, Harding University high school teacher Jasmine Wooten was arrested, charged with indecent liberties with a 16-year-old student. Now, we asked Dee Rankin, who chairs the committee, the policy committee, what he hopes that this would accomplish.
Just because the staff is arrested or charged with anything, that doesn't mean that, jobs are in danger, but just to ensure we have a safe environment, and we wanted to make sure that the policies match and best give teachers an opportunity to continue to work, but just want to make sure that there's nothing that could possibly be a potential danger.
The policy committee is set to review this at 2 o'clock today. If they do not make any changes, they can go ahead and vote today. It would then go to the full school board for a final vote. We'll keep you updated on what happens. I'm Caroline Hicks reporting live in Charlotte, WBTV on your side.